Smash Ultimate is a very strange game. You play it for the first time and it tells you to press jump to jump so you can show 'em who's boss. Then you hop online and get hit by a short hop Z-drop nair into forward toss, Z-catch, insta-toss, gyro, double jump, arm rotor, resulting in your instant death. And that's when you start to realize that trying to learn Smash with the in-game info is kinda like trying to learn Spanish with the Taco Bell menu. Not only is it lacking almost everything you need, but also what is there is honestly kind of insulting. And to me, nowhere is that more apparent than the world of item play. Smash Ultimate's item throw mechanics are some of the deepest and craziest things about it, and they have an impact everywhere, from goofy items on free-for-alls to top-level sets with thousands of dollars on the line. But in terms of item tech, it feels like a lot of this stuff is just very hard to find in one place. It's like secret knowledge scattered around the internet in random Discord servers and phone-recorded YouTube videos from 2014. So today I figured I'd try and assemble this Exodia and share with you all the forbidden tech I could find, so that you too can style on the uninformed masses. So make sure to press subscribe to subscribe, and let's take a look at some very spooky secret item tech. First off, before we get into the real bonkers stuff, we gotta talk about item mechanics. Might not sound too fancy, but there's a lot of jank and important info here that people just don't talk about. So, we'll start simple, and I'll put chapters on this video to chart our descent into obscure tech insanity. Anyway, when you're holding an item, your A moves and grab get replaced by tosses, which you can do anywhere, even out of shield. These tosses can be either up, down, forward, or back. And if you do one with a smash attack input, it'll become a smash toss, sending the item faster, doing more damage, and most importantly, giving you a cool sparkle effect. On paper, it's a straight upgrade, but it's good to mix in some normal tosses to catch people off guard. You know, mind games. You can also press A while running to do a dash item throw, which comes out very fast and usually gives you a burst of speed. Sadly though, it's pretty laggy, so let go of your stick first if you want a normal toss. And here's where things start to get a little bit questionable, because in Ultimate, each of these item toss types was standardized to have the same total duration regardless of who you're playing as. Down toss takes about a third of a second, the other ones have a few frames more lag, and dash toss takes the longest. However, because Nintendo wants you to suffer, every character still has different timings for actually throwing the item. Like, Pichu's downwards item toss is really slow, and Link's is really fast, but they both end on the same frame. This means that slower throws have less lag and more frame advantage, but there is very little logic governing whose throws do what. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that table in the description, feel free to read it, but be warned, it is the path to madness. But next, let's talk about an extremely powerful technique that I'm sure many of you have heard of, Z-dropping. By pressing the grab button, which on a GameCube controller is Z, you can drop an item in the air. And when you do this, it is completely instant with no lag whatsoever. As you can imagine, a frame 1 lagless attack is pretty good. You can Z-drop to cover ledge, pressure people, hit people out of shield, you can combo them out of a footstool, and while Z-dropped items don't do much damage on their own, this tech is the basis for a lot of the crazy stuff we're about to look at. For example, Z-drop aerials and Z-drop empty hops. So, as I mentioned earlier, when you're holding an item, you can't do any of your A moves, since item throws replace them. But, because Z-drops are instant, you can Z-drop and then do an aerial immediately, and that aerial will catch the item again. This lets you do any air attack you want while holding an item, which is great because this is Smash Ultimate and spamming aerials is your divine right. Also, as an added bonus, the Z-dropped item itself can still hit people, which is great for combos. And I'll just say it right now, these Z-drop aerials are definitely the most important tech to learn if you want to get strong item play. They are the backbone of that annoying Rob combo everyone spams on Elite Smash, they are what enable Tweak's amazing pressure and combo game with Diddy Kong, and they are how you can dispense karmic justice upon the players of this game's unholy item characters. Because if you pick up Rob's Gyro, or Diddy's Banana, or Simon's Holy Water, or K-Rool's Crown, and you're good enough at mashing Z-drop aerials, they are not allowed to spawn another item, and you get to pull out the Uno reverse card. I mean, using Rob's Gyro to commit various crimes against him is basically a whole subgenre of Smash Tweet, and Z-drop aerials are at the very core of that seething hatred for Rob that these clips radiate through the screen. But wait, as strong as Z-drops are, you can only do them in the air. I mean, with some shooting and battering items, you can press grab to do what's called a grounded item drop, but it's really weak and laggy for some reason. And also, you can't do it with any character spawnable items, only stuff like Home Run Bat, because this game makes zero sense. Anyway, since holding an item makes you lose access to all your grounded moves that aren't specials, it can actually feel pretty limiting for a lot of characters, especially if you aren't blessed with amazing aerials or a command grab special move like Suplex or Monkey Flip. But that's when you pull out the Z-Drop Empty Hop mix-ups. You see, by jumping with an item, you can make your opponent think you're going to use a Z-Drop aerial, but then Z-Drop, land, and grab or attack instead. If you do this into a tilt or dash attack, you'll even pick up the item again, letting you keep up your item pressure. And if that tilt or dash attack happens to be a combo starter, this becomes a very practical way to start those fancy item combos I mentioned. But before we get any crazier here, let's actually talk about those item pickup mechanics. There's a good chance you already know that in order to throw an item, you have to pick it up first. But in true Super Smash Bros. Fashion, there are so many obscure secrets you have to know to prevent this extremely simple task from causing you to suffer immensely. So let's go over them. If there's an item in front of you, press the A button and you'll do an item grab. It's a quick animation, but it replaces your jab for some reason, so there's just no way to jab if there's an item nearby, which is kinda weird, but sure. You can also grab items by using a tilt attack, a dash attack, an aerial, an air dodge, or by using some of the highly secret techniques I'm about to show you. And by the way, what a lot of people don't know is that some of these options actually have different ranges for grabbing items. So as you can see here, I've placed a banana in front of Guy Fieri, and all he wants to do is make a delicious
Texas French toast bananas Foster.
But at this range, he's too far away to grab it with jab, down tilt, up tilt, or anything in the air. But watch this. If I do a forward tilt, suddenly he picks up the banana from 5 miles away, and now he's ready to cause some diabetes. And that's because while most moves grab from the same distance, every character's forward tilt and dash attack both have way bigger item grab ranges. They'll teleport items into your hand from a much farther distance than other attacks, and that can be very useful. Like, you know when you're fighting a Rob and the gyro is just spinning in front of you, and you try to pick it up, but it keeps fighting back, and then Rob gets a free hit, and you feel like an infomercial actor? Well, use your forward tilt to grab this thing, and you can turn it from one of the best projectiles in the entire game into one of the best projectiles, but now it doesn't make you want to die. So, now that we've covered all the basic stuff, it's time to talk about a couple of advanced ways to catch items. The first one, Z-catching, is relatively well known, but the other two are very rare to see despite their power, so I hope this video can help change that. But yeah, Z-catching. This just refers to pressing the grab button in midair while you're right on top of an item. It's basically the opposite of a Z-drop, being a way to instantly pick up an item with no lag. But Z-catching is definitely way less common than Z-dropping, and I feel like that's mostly because it's much more precise. You'll get an air dodge if you're just a few inches too far away from the item. But don't be fooled, in the right hands, Z-catching is an extremely powerful tool that basically opens up an entire new dimension of gameplay. If you've ever seen somebody dribbling with items before, that's basically them doing lots of Z-drops and Z-catches in quick succession. I highly recommend you learn this, by the way. I don't know how much it actually helps you win, but it's a great flex. Now, the best thing by far that Z-catching enables is Instatosses, and basically, Instatoss is just shorthand for when you Z-catch an item and then toss it immediately so it looks like one fluid motion. I like to do this using the C-stick, but be aware that the C-stick will always give you smash tosses in the air, even if you use tilt stick, so use the A button if you want to throw the item slower. And if you're wondering why tilt stick doesn't give you tilt throws, so am I. If your uncle works at Nintendo, please ask him and get back to me on that one. Anyway, just in case you aren't impressed by Instatosses just yet, here's a couple ways that they actively win real games, including one matchup that you definitely want to learn them for no matter who you main. But first things first, they're amazing for combos. For example, Rob has his terrifying double toss combos, where you combo forward toss gyro into forward toss gyro thanks to a sneaky insta-toss in between. This lets you carry people even farther off stage with side B, and it literally kills at 0 if you hit it, so yeah, pretty good tech. By the way, Peach is another character that gets some crazy mileage out of insta-toss. Not only does she also have double toss combos, but because of her float, she can literally chain multiple insta-tosses together and do some pretty horrifying things. But despite all these wild combos, I think the best use most people have for Z-catches and insta-tosses is a lot less flashy. You see, normally Z-catching an item that's been thrown at you is pretty hard, since it's really easy to mistime your catch and get hit instead. But versus Snake, whose grenades don't deal knockback until they explode, these techs are great tools to have in your arsenal. Like, let's say he's sitting on the other side of the screen chucking uncooked grenades at you. In this situation, especially if you're fighting Snake God 12 on Elite Smash at 2 AM, it's easy to either freeze up or charge in blindly, both of which are outcomes that benefit Snake. But if you're able to Z-catch these grenades and throw them back at the right timings, you can really mess with Snake's game plan. Now he has to be more careful and cook his grenades for longer to stop you from throwing them back. But this means you suddenly have way more time and breathing room to approach him. Good use of Z-catching and Instatossing can totally change how you play the Snake matchup, so I think everyone should learn them, especially if you are a certified Snake hater like me. And now folks, as promised, we've finally gotten to the real spooky stuff, so get ready. Coming up next is a totally different way to catch items, early auto-cancel item catches. Now I don't think they have an established shorthand name because not a lot of people talk about this tech, but it's something that a lot of item players just sort of intuitively know. I personally shorten it to Autocatches. If you don't like the name, please don't kill me. Anyway, here's how auto-catches work. You might be aware that almost all aerial attacks in Smash Ultimate auto-cancel after a certain frame. This means that even if its animation is technically still playing, the move has finished, and landing with it won't give you that aerial's landing lag. But a lesser known fact is that most aerials actually auto-cancel if you land at the start of the move, too. When this happens, the animation gets cancelled completely before it actually does anything. Netflix would be proud. And if you've heard of the tech A-landing before, where you cancel your tumble animation with no lag, this early auto-cancel is what makes it possible. So, the key to auto-catching is that even if you auto-cancel your move like this, you can still catch items with it. This gives you access to an easy way to pick up items with only 4 frames of lag, less than any landing aerial. It's a lot less precise than trying to Z-catch a grounded item, and you'll never do an air dodge by accident, so I find it very useful. The only problem is that it kind of feels completely random which characters can do this easily, so you'll want to look up your main specifically and give it a shot yourself. And of course, if you're already blessed with a low lag aerial to catch items with, don't lose sleep over not being able to auto catch. But I think it's great for characters like Pyra or Byleth, who would normally have to go through a lot of lag to catch an item, but can skip all that with an auto catch instead. Next, I'd like to talk about dash attack cancel item grab. And it's funny because in terms of name recognition, I feel like attack cancels are very well known, but in actual tournament play, you never really see them except for a few specific combo routes. That's because there's another tech called IRAR that sort of does the same thing but better most of the time. It's a whole thing, but there's one area where attack cancels can be extremely useful in certain matchups, and yes, big surprise, it's item play. That's because, as you might know, attack cancels let you cancel the startup of grounded A moves into jumps, and as I mentioned earlier, dash attack is the best grounded A move at grabbing items. So put all that together, and here's what happens. You can dash attack near an item, then attack cancel it by quickly pressing jump, and you'll pretty much magically scoop that item into your hands before jumping and throwing it. This is a dash attack cancel item toss, which I'm going to call DACIT for my own sanity. And honestly, DACIT is kind of a game changer if you think about it, because all the other item catch methods we talked about can be very useful, but they still have clear windows where you're left open. Like let's say Rob has a gyro spinning on the ground, and you dash attack or jump to pick it up. Those are things Rob has simple answers to if he reads them. But with a DACIT, you can deal with that evil spinning object from a very safe distance while keeping your options open. You do have to throw it immediately thanks to that dash attack input, but you could, for example, throw it backwards and be very safe, downwards to set up a catch, or even upwards to prevent Rob from using gyro for a while. And although the input does take a bit of practice, once you master it, I think it'll actually make the game a whole lot easier for you wherever items are involved. So I've linked a video by the Negationist explaining this tech, definitely check it out if you want a closer look. But wait! There is one more top secret variation you can add on top of the DACIT, which lets you Z-drop that item instead of tossing it away. And that would be the dash attack cancel item toss cancel Z-drop, which I'm shortening to the DAC drop because I'm a coward. You see, by pressing the shield button quickly after a DACIT, you can override its item throw in the buffer with a Z-drop for a quick, lagless way to make the item yours. And yes, you may be thinking, why would I spend hours practicing this absurdly specific item tech that'll only help me in a few matchups? And to that I say, here's the beauty of Super Smash Bros. Because the more specific a tech is, the more it scares the hell out of people, and I find that very enjoyable. If you're fighting a Rob player and you start pulling out the dash attack cancel item toss cancel Z drops, just imagine the fear you will strike into their top tier heart, and I think that alone makes it worth the effort. But you know what? I got something even better. How about a couple absurdly specific item techniques that will help you in 0 matchups? That's right, we will now be looking at 2 techniques that are less secret like the Krabby Patty secret formula, and more secret like the fact that almost every adult human has eyelash mites living in their face. It's not something you'll ever need to know, and yet here we are. So what you're looking at is the Airdodge item drop. When you do a neutral air dodge holding an item, if you press the grab button just after the air dodge starts, you will actually perform a Z drop while you air dodge. Now, I don't know why this is in the game. It's not even in any tips or anything, it's just kind of there. And I guess it would catch people off guard sometimes as a gimmick, but between having to get into position first and the air dodge leaving you wide open, I kind of feel like it's a waste of an item most of the time. But to be fair, it actually does have an interesting property on some characters, and that's because of, you guessed it, another extremely obscure Smash Ultimate fact. Love those. So when characters Z-drop an item, they drop it from where they're actually holding it. For example, Rob holds items in front of him, and when you press grab, it drops them in front of him. Mario holds items behind him, and he drops them behind him. But here's where things get significantly stupider than they already are. You see, this location can be affected by animations. So if you look at Joker here, he does a flip every single time he short hops, and thanks to that flip, depending on when you press grab, Joker will Z-drop items behind him, or straight down, or anywhere in between. And if you do a down air and drop an item after that, you can even make him drop the item in front of himself. And there are so many weird animations like this. For example, Min Min holds items in her dragon arm, and if you do arms leap and buffer a Z drop, you can actually see her drop that item from really far away from herself. Anyway, same idea. When you do an air dodge item drop, the air dodge animation makes a lot of characters drop items from weird places. Like Rob drops the gyro behind him instead of in front of him, and Mega Man has some similar weirdness that can actually lead to interesting mix-ups. So, as I said before, I wasn't too impressed by air dodge item drops, but who knows? Maybe they do have some real use and they're just held back by the fact that like 5 people know about them. But wait, we aren't done here, because what if I told you we can take air dodge item drops and make them even less useful? You see, by doing the inputs for an air dodge item drop without an item in hand, instead doing them near an item, you will air dodge, Z catch, and Z drop at the same exact time. Now, despite a lot of research, I couldn't actually find anyone mention this technique, probably because anyone who stumbled across it was like, this is completely useless, and was correct. So because this tech is an offshoot of the air dodge item drop, which lets you both grab and drop, I call this tech the air dodge item grop. Potential uses for this air dodge item grop include looking kind of cool sometimes, and doing stuff you can do with a normal Z-grab Z-drop, except worse. Though it could maybe be a funny distraction for Pac-Man as he sets up a supersonic melon, I don't know. But yeah, that's about it for air dodge item grops. And now, finally, I'd like to talk to you about sliding. So as I mentioned, you can do a normal item toss instead of a laggy dash toss by letting go of your analog stick before pressing A. That works well enough, but for most characters it doesn't make you slide very far, which isn't great if you're trying to combo or pressure with the item. You want to get closer to your opponent while throwing, and that's where some top secret item tech comes in. Since most characters actually have a way to slide farther during a throw, a strategy often called glide tossing. Unfortunately, in Smash Ultimate, there are 5 separate techniques for doing this, which all benefit different characters. So buckle up. First off, we got pivot cancel tosses, and if you want to learn one of these glide toss techniques, it should probably be this one, because it works well for most characters and it's not too hard. Basically, you can do this by running, then tapping backwards, and quickly doing the item toss forwards again. If you're familiar with those sliding pivot cancels everyone spams because it makes them feel badass, it's the same input as that, just with an item. But it really is as simple as tapping backwards and then throwing the item forwards. Now, most characters are able to slide pretty far by doing this, but there's actually an extra secret with this tech that makes it even better, and that's the fact that it gives you an item back throw. Because forward and back tosses might have the same total duration, but for some ungodly reason, for almost all characters, their back tosses start slower, which means they have less lag, which means if you do a pivot cancel item toss, you'll have more time to approach with the item, it'll combo better, and it'll be safer on shield. And this can actually be a big deal. As you can see here, if Nest has a normal banana toss right in Diddy's face, Diddy can up smash out of shield before Nest can do anything. But if Nest has a pivot cancel toss instead, suddenly that toss becomes completely safe. And that's sort of the hidden power of pivot cancel tosses. Yes, they're slower to start up, but if you're holding an item, your opponent is going to want to play a bit more defensive anyway. So in my eyes, it's pretty much a straight upgrade. The only limitation is that unlike normal throws, you can't do pivot cancel tosses out of your initial dash. You have to be running for a bit first. So it's definitely something you want to take into training mode and get a feel for yourself, but I think this tech is very strong and worth learning. Next up is jump cancel glide tosses, which I think are pretty cool. They're a simple way to slide and they benefit pretty much everyone. But wait, I'm sure some Smash veterans in the audience are very confused right now, since in Smash 4 this tech was a huge part of the item meta, but when Ultimate came out, jump cancel tosses simply didn't work anymore. But were they really removed? The truth is that the old jump cancel input was broken in Ultimate because of some engine changes, namely everyone getting a really fast jump squat and the buffer system being coded by Sakurai's pet cat. But if you're holding an item and you dash, then do a jump and toss input super quickly, making sure to let go of jump as soon as possible, then the jump cancel glide tosses that Smash 4 item players know and love are very much still here. Mostly, because while this does work during the initial dash of every character I tested, for some reason, most of them just kind of stop in their tracks when you do this out of a full run. Meanwhile, other characters like Fox get to do it whenever they want, because nothing can be consistent in this horrifying game. So I guess optimally you might learn jump cancel toss to slide during your initial dash, and then learn pivot cancel toss to slide after your initial dash, which feels more complicated than it has to be, but that's just how we do things here. Also, not gonna lie, it's pretty hard to do this input at first, but with practice, you can make jump cancel tosses very consistent. I personally just slide my thumb from the Y button past the A button as fast as I can, and it seems to work out okay. Next, not to be confused with jump cancel tosses, are double jump cancel tosses. These DJC tosses have a lot of uses, but can only be done by Ness, Lucas, Mewtwo, Kazuya, and Sora. To perform a double jump toss, first you must double jump, and then you toss. That's right, this is a rare tech with the unique property of actually making sense. And you have a lot of freedom with this one too. Depending on the timing of your item throw, you'll cancel your double jump at different heights, and a quick DJC toss will completely stop your vertical movement. This lets you pull off a whole bunch of interesting tricks, from sliding grounded tosses, to weird drift mix-ups, to canceling full hops and ledge jumps to drop downwards quickly. Thanks to all the new options this tech opens up, those 5 characters I mentioned get to have a surprising amount of fun when items are involved, so if you play one, definitely give DJC tosses a shot. Especially if you play Kazuya, because honestly, DJC tosses let this man move in ways I find kinda horrifying. Now, our next weird throw tech is also very character specific, but if you use it right, you can make some truly cursed stuff happen on screen. And that tech would be the roll cancel toss. To put it simply, all characters can cancel the first 3 frames of their rolls into an item toss. And some characters like Pichu and Robin get actual distance from doing this. All you have to do is roll, then press A really quickly, and you can item toss in any direction. Fun fact, by the way, in Brawl this tech would slingshot characters really far, and it was actually the origin of the term glide toss. Nowadays, roll cancel tosses don't really make you glide so much as awkwardly shift forward, but they're still in the game. If you've heard of roll cancel grabs, they're sorta like those, but the item toss version is a lot less limiting. You can do it from forward rolls and back rolls, and you can even do it out of shield. But unfortunately, this will stale your dodges and you don't really go that far, so despite a couple of fun gimmicks, for most characters I really don't recommend ever doing this. But there is one character I make a huge exception for, cause look what happens when I do a roll cancel toss as Little Mac. That's right, Mac's roll cancel toss goes so far that you can literally teleport behind people, and again, you can do this out of shield. So here's Little Mac teleporting through someone to get out of the corner, and here's Little Mac teleporting inside of Diddy's shield to trip him with a grounded banana. And here's Little Mac teleporting across the stage with a gyro. Mac's roll cancel toss is pretty bonkers, but don't worry, even though all this stuff might look insane, there is one critical flaw to Little Mac's roll cancel item throw. That being, you gotta play Little Mac, which I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But now folks, it is time for the final tech, and of course I made sure to save a highly secret technique for last. Not the absolute most secret, that one is definitely still Airdodge item gropping, but this one has actual uses, so I think it's a nice balance. If mastered for the characters it benefits, this tech lets you cover more distance than any of the other glide tossing methods, and you can do it out of almost any point in a run. And the name of this secret final tech is the Dash Item Throw, Cancel Item Throw, or DITCIT. Back in Smash 4, this tech was also called Super Glide Tossing, and it lived up to the name with some crazy momentum jank. But in the transition to Ultimate, every character's traction was increased, and this technique got heavily nerfed in the process. This led to it being pretty much completely forgotten over the past few years, but much like how a Rice Krispie that contains 15% sawdust is still a Rice Krispie, DITCIT, while heavily nerfed, still has the potential to shine in Smash Ultimate, so here's how it works. I'll begin by saying this tech requires A+B smash on, so that should set the tone for what's to come. Basically, as I talked about earlier, dash throws are special tosses you can only perform while running that usually give you a burst of speed, but they're very laggy to compensate. However, you can actually cancel them into normal throws by a method I do not fully understand, which carries over the speed of your dash throw into a normal, safe toss. But only forward toss or up toss, not down toss or back toss for some reason. But here's what you do. With AB smash enabled in controls and an item in your hand, start by dashing forward. Then, when you want to DITCIT, press A to start a dash toss, then keep A held down and quickly press B to trigger AB smash while sliding the stick to the forward diagonal notch. Alternatively, you can slide the stick straight up if you want an up throw. Well, if you do this right, you should get an item toss with a burst of speed, if you're playing a character that actually does, since DITCIT, of course, varies wildly depending on your character. Like, Ganondorf's is completely useless, while Banjo's sends you flying. For my testing, it generally seems to be better on fast characters, but of course there are exceptions, like Falcon and Sonic going basically nowhere. In any case, I recommend practicing with one of these characters on screen, who I found have some of the best DITCITs, and then once you get a feel for it, you can try bringing it back to the characters you play. Also, if you think this being an A+B Smash exclusive tech wasn't stupid enough, you're in luck, because this tech benefits from yet another weird control setting. So as we saw, this tech requires a dash throw, but you can't actually dash throw out of a run immediately. You have to wait a certain amount of time first, or you'll just get a smash throw instead. But the amount of time you have to wait after dashing depends on your stick sensitivity in your controller settings. You see, normally you can dash throw starting frame 7, but high sensitivity makes you wait till frame 8, and low sensitivity brings it down to 6. So the lower your stick sensitivity, the sooner you're allowed to dash throw, and therefore DITCIT out of a run. And in fact, changing that time window where you get smash inputs is literally the only thing that the stick sensitivity option does. Now, you might be wondering what this has to do with the actual sensitivity of your stick. And the answer is nothing, because in Smash Ultimate, stick sensitivity does not affect stick sensitivity. Anyway, this and AB Smash don't really affect gameplay that much otherwise, so if your character has a good DITCIT, it honestly might be worth changing your controls for. So that's it! That's all the secret item tech I could find. I know there's a lot of character-specific stuff I didn't mention, like Link bomb setups, Bayo skipping lag with item tosses, and the insanity Peach can pull off with float, but this should cover pretty much all the general item tech you'll see in tournaments. But of course, let me know if I missed anything and I'll throw it in a pinned comment of my sins. Also, for casual items, sometimes the rules change a little, like how pressing A, holding a battering or shooting item often won't throw it, but just remember you can always throw those with the grab button and you should be good. In any case, whether you're casual or competitive, item play is really fun once you know some tricks, so I hope you'll give them a shot despite these very spooky tech names. And finally, I know it's been like 5 billion years since my last scripted video, so thanks for watching after all this time. Thanks to my patrons, I can aim for one a month now and hit you with some jank straight from the bottom of the Smash Ultimate iceberg. So as always, stay safe, subscribe, and next time you fight a Rob player, be sure to DAC drop gyro into an Autocatch DITCIT and watch as they cower in pure fear.